I mean, yeah, that's fine. Doesn't have to always have a cold open.
Yeah.
Have we had one that wasn't a cold open yet?
I don't think so. I think I've always had one.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we did have one that was.
Yeah, if we did, I don't remember.
I feel like there was one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh, well, maybe this one will not have one.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all good.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time. This is your host, Josh Youngbar, and every man has three hearts. And then I have my co-host, Jered.
I don't seek to be Shogun. That title is a brutal relic from a bygone era.
That's a good one. Today we are talking about Shogun. I guess it's a mini series. I don't know. I don't think it's like a season one.
It's a mini series right now, but
yeah, if it does really well, they might.
I feel like
it depends if they cover the whole book. But anyway,
true.
We're covering episode 1 and 2 today. And but before we do that, we're get into a little bit of what we've been watching. I think both of us haven't watched a whole lot other than this, but
Yeah.
What else have you watched besides Shogun?
Yeah, well, and Dune and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I had that on my
movies.
I had that on my list.
Yeah,
Dune Part 2, and because we did, which we covered on our movie podcast, and that will be coming out in a few days, covering Dune Part 2. But so we both watched that, and I actually saw it twice, which sucks up a lot of your time. That's it's almost 6 hours of my life right there. This in the past week.
Yeah.
But what else did you watch besides?
Yeah. So I just have one thing that just started that I wanted to check out, called The Regime on Max. Is it Regime? Is that how it's pronounced?
The Regime.
The Regime. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Kate.
Regimen.
I don't know. Is it? I don't know.
It's regime.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was a regime. Yeah. I didn't want to say regiment and sound dumb. No. It's Kate Winslet's
Washington
new show. Yeah. Exactly. Kate Winslet's new show. Her last show, Mayor of Easttown.
So good.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
I always get that mixed up with Mayor of Kingstown. I wanted to make sure I got that right because they're so similar, the names. But this is her new show. I mean, she's an amazing actress.
Mm-hmm.
But this show though, I don't know about it.
You're not feeling it?
No. Did you watch any of it?
I haven't watched it. I mean, I have planned to check it out, but I have not watched it.
Okay, so, and I looked this up. It's supposed to be a drama.
Mm-hmm.
So starting it though, from the tone of the show, like from the beginning even, and also from what they're doing score-wise, it seems like it's trying to be funny and like have a lot of like little witty one-liners, and it's not at all. And I don't understand the tone.
Well, it's one of the writers from Succession that's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, see, it's not anywhere near on that level. Okay, so you're trying to do a drama that has some stuff in it.
I mean, I'm just speculating. Again, I didn't see it yet, but I know one of the key writers in the writing room, obviously not besides the showrunner that also was a writer. It developed the show, and I guess they probably had a writing team as well, but so I don't know if they're trying to go for a similar tone where it's like almost a little satire-ish, a little bit of human way, like Succession kind of toes that line.
It doesn't feel like Succession at all, but like it's weird because it's just there is no real set tone to it. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain. It just feels very weird because it doesn't seem like the kind of show I thought it was going into it. And yeah, so far, I mean, Kate Winslet's great in it, but like just overall, it's just like, this is not great. I watched like half of it, and then I was kind of done. But anyway, I wanted to mention it. It's yeah, we'll see. Maybe you'll like it, but I really wasn't into it, which sucks because I loved her last show, and I like a lot of the stuff she's in. But yeah, this one's not great.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll check it out.
yeah,
at some
yeah, you
point
see, yeah,
and let you know.
yeah, and I still haven't finished Poor Things. That was the movie I was going to talk about last week, and I still haven't finished it, so I won't. I'll hopefully talk about it soon. So, yeah.
Well,
Have you watched anything else?
Watched only one other thing other than Shogun and then Dune.
Yep.
Watched Anyone But You.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have not watched this yet.
Yeah. So it's a film, if you don't know. It's a romantic comedy.
Sydney Sweeney and
oh yeah, what's the guy's name?
he's pretty big right now too, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's being a lot. He's in the new Twister movie. I know that.
Yeah. Why can't I think of his name now? I knew it. Anyway, it was really good. Like, I mean,
really
like,
cool.
I mean, those kind of movies in general, you know what's going to happen. So, but then it's had some genuinely funny moments, really
cool,
good, and I think they have great chemistry together on screen. And yeah, it was. If you like those kind of movies at all, definitely watch this.
Okay,
watch this.
Nice. It seems like also, I feel like I kept seeing all over the internet just like behind the scenes with them, and it seemed like there was a lot of chemistry there too. So that might have just gone into
the also like,
or maybe they're even dating now. I don't
broke
know.
a record of like, because it's R-rated, and so like for R-rated comedy,
right?
It's like,
I didn't know it was R-rated.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
There's yeah, like, because it evidently, now timing was good. In January and February, there wasn't a lot to see in the theaters anyway, and so this got released like right before Christmas, I think, and didn't do a whole lot that first 2 weeks, but then with the consecutive 2 months of being in the theaters, and it kept getting traction, and I think now it's made like over $200 million domestically, and like it was, it's like one of those movies. It's like probably $15-20 million to make.
Yeah,
like, it's not a lot of money. So, if that, I mean, I'm being generous, probably even at that.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. So it was very successful. I think I heard or read somewhere something where they were talking about what their next project might be, as like kind of like another where they're the co-leads of a
same
film.
people. Okay.
I think I was trying to remember in the credits, Sydney Sweeney, she was either a producer on it or something, and so she definitely did more than just star in it.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then they probably, and he might have been too. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Just noticed that, caught it real quick, and I was like, oh, okay.
It's a weird, like, going from that, then like she has Madam Web like a couple months later. It's like the differences between those two movies, like, man. Now again, I haven't seen either one of those, but now you're saying that Anyone But You is good, and then pretty much everything I've heard about Madam Web, it's like one of the worst movies ever made. Right. So it's weird that she's had those two like kind of back to back, pretty recent, because Madam Web was on Valentine's Day, I think is when that came out.
Yeah. So anyway, it was good. It was fun.
Okay.
It was definitely entertaining, worth watching.
Cool.
Lots of attractive people.
Yeah, of course.
This is always fun.
Well, yeah. Is anyone else besides them? I was wondering, is any other actors you recognized in it?
I
don't even
some of
remember
the people
seeing
that
the trailers.
played like the parents.
Okay.
They seemed kind of, some of them seemed a little familiar, but not anybody I can name off the top of my head.
Okay.
I did then the ex-girlfriend for the lead guy, she was nobody I recognized, but
okay.
And then but obviously another very attractive, but then the ex boyfriend for Sydney Sweeney's character, he was just, I know he was played the like attractive jock from Never Have I Ever. That's like only thing I recognize it from. So that actor. Honestly, like he's probably one of the weaker parts of this movie, but anyway, but it was good.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen the main guy really in much. I just see that he's kind of blowing up right now as an actor, but I already know Sydney Sweeney is a great actress from Euphoria. Like that was the first thing. Oh no, actually there was something right before that.
First thing I ever saw her in.
But I mean, like everyone in that show was so good. I mean, and then we just talked about Zendaya on Dune. So like a lot of people in that are like just in a lot of things now that kind of came out of that show and just like blew up. So
yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those are quick. What we've been watching.
Yeah.
But let's get into Shogun episodes 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So just a couple things to mention up front. This is based on the novel Shogun that was written in 1975 by James Clavell, however you say his last name, which then was adapted into a miniseries in 1980 that was on television.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that was
like
a thing.
They didn't take very long. Like 5 years is not
right.
It's like but the book and these series are based on real life exploits of a William Adams, who was a ship pilot who shipwrecked on the shores of Japan in the 1600s and became the first Englishman to make contact with Japan. So it's loosely based on real events.
But they changed the name?
The book writer must have changed the name, and then they probably because they didn't want to have to make it exactly the same.
True.
So like you just kind of like the idea of that story, and then so overall thoughts on this before we
this is, I mean, one of the best new shows I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Like just even from the start, I was like, holy crap. And then afterwards, like looking on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, it's like, it has like almost a perfect score. It's just crazy to me. Like, I think it's like one of the highest things, like TV wise. I don't know if you saw it. I think on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like, so, but this is a good parallel to, because we just recorded Dune Part 2. This is a good parallel to where, like, I just think like every aspect of this is just done so well. Like the story, the actors, the cinematography, the score, everything is just like top notch in this, I think. And I've been hearing this a lot, and it's kind of true. You know, a lot of people are comparing it to Game of Thrones since there's a lot of different houses. There's a little bit of that, but also shout out to the costume design, because there's some really awesome costumes in this.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to ask you this, since we're not going to really have a cinematography section, what kind of lens did they use in this? Because there was sometimes I was noticing something on the edges. Did you notice that?
Yeah, so yes, I know what you're talking about. At least I think I know what you're talking about.
Looked almost like a vignette, but it's probably more a lens type of lens.
Well,
or
so I'll have to look up what, because I'm trying to think even if it was anamorphic or not.
Oh, is that what? Okay,
maybe.
Because then it also kind of look blurry, like around the edges too.
Yes,
is that what anamorphic does?
It does it more often. You see those aberrations in the lenses. But I did notice there was a couple times also they used a much wider lens as well, and that'll get that too, where you get a little bit of more distortion and just kind of like
on the edges,
because it is like wider. But I don't know what type of. I didn't look up the type of lenses.
Okay.
And I know, we don't like call it the cinematographer as much on TV stuff, just because of they use different people and they different.
Yeah, a lot.
Like, not always the same person, but So
what were your overall?
I mean, overall thoughts is not that different than what you said. Like I think it's really good. Really, the cinematography for sure.
Yeah.
Like the way it's shot and lit is so well done. And then yeah, the performances. I think the reference to Game of Thrones is a good example, not just because of like there's different houses, but also I think a little bit of like the way it's, I say, paced is maybe the character development, and it's so focused on the characters of these different regimes or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
That
factions.
Yeah, that are all kind of not warring but are, because they all want to be the ones in power, but
yeah,
because the last person, emperor, whatever he was died. And they I think there's just almost, that is where I would compare the similarities, where it's the pace of it, in the sense of like taking the time to really, in a way that a movie can't, let you really get to know these characters.
Yeah.
And at that many, I mean, a movie can do it in like a small, intimate way with like a small, but like you need more time to really flesh everything out that way. And they do that in this because they can, and they, it'll take that time. So I think that's great. Yeah, and just well acted, and then well written, and then
it's like,
so it makes for all around like
well
executed.
Like, and I think maybe it's partially also, now I shouldn't say, like, obviously there's still been some good stuff that has come out TV wise lately, but also I feel like there's been a lot of just okay stuff. Do you know what I mean? With TV especially. And so like, I mean, we've talked about this before. There was kind of more of a golden age of television that was more like 10, 15 years ago, right? Where we had Breaking Bad, Mad Men, both on the same network even, and around the same time. So like stuff like that. And then what? Game of Thrones was like a couple years after that. So we had a lot of good stuff then. And I feel like in the past few years we have gotten still a lot of TV, but I feel like it's just a lot of just okay. Now, I don't want to say all of it, because there still has been some good stuff that comes out, but this feels like way above a lot of stuff that has come out recently. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like a lot of it has been more mediocre.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah. Lately. I mean, like definitely so far this year. Trying to think of tail end last year.
It's like there's and again, I'm not saying everything, because like we still got like The Bear and stuff like that. That's just like top notch, but
it is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what the like.
So this is just, I think that elevates this show even more, because it's just, this is so like fresh, it seems, and seems like it's resonating with a lot of people based on the rating too.
Yeah. For sure. Trying to think like what maybe.
I mean, we did a best of last year.
I know. I was just like The Last of Us maybe last year kind of had like it was like at this level maybe.
I think this is still better than that even.
Probably, but we only had 2 episodes in, and we saw
But that was a complicated thing, because like people that have only seen The Last of Us show, like I think liked it more, and I didn't as much because I played both the games, and I feel like some of the stuff I didn't like about it, but some of the stuff was very faithful to it though, which was great. But
honestly, the season 3 of The Witcher was pretty good.
You haven't got to that yet.
Production value and all that stuff's there, but
I'm glad they went out the bang with Henry Cavill, because man, they messed that up big time.
No, I mean, it's not. I guess this is up there. I was just trying to think of what else maybe
besides The Bear, because I feel like that was like our number one.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're gonna get some stuff this summer.
Maybe something from Apple TV last year. I'm trying to think. Because their stuff sometimes pretty high quality.
And we are gonna get good stuff this year. Like if like Severance comes back this year, and then we talk about this summer is like House of the Dragon.
So Foundation.
Oh yeah, that's
last year. Season 2 was
pretty good.
Yeah. But you're right. Like these, you
I think the Bears even coming back this summer already again.
It is.
Isn't it? That's crazy that they're doing it that fast. So
yeah, the Bear will be back, and then the House of the Dragon.
Yeah, so there's gonna be good stuff this summer. Yeah.
And then
The Boys was the other big one.
The Boys is coming back.
Yeah.
And then Rings of Power will be back in the fall.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it's better than the first
They already
season.
renewed it for season 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, I mean I'm with you. Like I hope it's better because
it's not great.
Yeah, I don't think I hate it as much as you did.
Well, it's just it was more story and characters because like visually it was like because the budget was ridiculous. Like it looked great, but you know. Anyway, but so anyway, this is just feels very fresh for right now. Yeah.
I'm gonna read the synopsis of both. Episode 1, Anjin. How you say it? Anjin.
That was what they called him.
Yeah,
the pirate.
Well,
was it not the word for pirate?
Pilot.
Pilot?
Yeah, because I think because it's
right, okay.
Because they think he was piloting the ship.
That's
whatever. Right. Yeah. Destinies converge in Japan after a barbarian ship washes ashore in a poor fishing village. Meanwhile, in Osaka, Lord Teranaga finds himself outplayed by his enemies. So that's episode 1. In episode 2, Servants of Two Masters, Blackthorn's arrival in Osaka stirs up a hornet's nest of rivalries. Mariko is trapped between her cause and her faith when she must translate to the barbarian in the Lord Teranaga's custody.
Man.
All right. Yes. So I mean, it kind of covers the gist of it, but So I thought maybe we were just talking about because I didn't want to go scene by scene because it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
There's a lot in this.
So I thought maybe we'd talk about. And we can start with Blackthorn and just kind of his kind of story arc a little bit until he ends up with Teranaga, and then we can kind of go to Teranaga's stuff before then they end up together, and then we can kind of talk about that.
Well, that's good also because I do want to mention like some of the cast in this because it's people we're familiar with, and maybe some that I don't know. Like for instance, John Blackthorne. Like, have you seen him in anything?
No, I have not.
Okay. Which, by the way, he's great in this. This actor is Cosmo Jarvis, which is great that his name's Cosmo
Jarvis.
And Jarvis, but I'm just like...
well, I just think of Cosmo from Seinfeld.
Cosmo Kramer, yeah.
And Jarvis is like just funny because like the...
It is a weird... That's his real name, which is interesting, Cosmo Jarvis. But anyway, he was in Raised by Wolves as the adult version of Campion, which is one of the main characters. And he was great in that too. But that was the only thing I think I've seen. Like, I don't think he's been in a lot of other stuff. But he's great in this. The only thing is, like, it's kind of hard, and maybe this will, like, I don't want to ruin it for you, but he seems like he's doing a little bit of knockoff Tom Hardy with his voice. You notice that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Again, though, I still think he's great, but like he kept reminding me of Tom Hardy.
I guess maybe I haven't watched enough Tom Hardy.
Oh well, like there's a show called Taboo that was great. Well, I guess it's a mini series because they never did anymore. I wish they did of like him in like kind of the same time period, but he's not in Japan. But anyway, it just reminded me he's doing like a same.
And I've never watched Peaky Blinders. I know it's the same.
Yeah, he's in that too. Yeah.
And then so. I think I just haven't seen enough Tom Hardy for it.
Because it's not like it's not like he's doing Bane voice. Like that's what you know of Tom.
Well,
Hardy.
that's one of the things I know. Yeah,
but yeah,
I've never seen Venom.
Oh well, yeah, you don't need to see that.
I think what else is.
By the way, there's already going to be a Venom 3.
I know.
Like soon. Anyway,
what else big stuff has Tom Hardy been in that I have not seen?
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, so Blackthorn, though, is a cool character.
Yeah, for sure.
Great name for
a pirate,
kind of not pirate. pirate that's not a pirate.
Just slightly altered name of a pirate. Yeah, basically.
So we kind of follow, their ship. They're been on the sea for a very long time, and they're starving / scurvy, whatnot.
Oh yeah, all kinds of
And they end up on the shores in Japan in 1600. And of course, then they get captured because, well, they're on their deathbeds with starvation and stuff. So
yeah, they can't do anything.
And then the leader of the little fishing village, contacts his boss, which I think is like his brother or uncle. I don't remember. And then that was when we first meet Yabashij. I think it's
I would say this is the main thing. It's going to be hard, just like with Game of Thrones. Like the relationship of like all the people is what I had the trouble with the most. So like who you're asking about that, like I'm not sure how he's related.
He's the guy
to.
that then they bring the first priest to come in and translate for him, and he thought that scene was great.
Oh yeah,
when he realizes he's picking up on it, he's not translating, and he's like, this guy's not my friend. So then the way he like bashes the cross and does all these things to try to show like,
that was
hey,
good. Yeah,
I don't trust this guy. And so anyway, I liked that scene a lot. And then of course he's like, all right, let's not kill him, kill somebody else. And then that's when we get the boiled alive scene. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, I haven't either.
And I was like, that when I'm watching, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of things I've seen people get killed, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen this.
No, and that's rough because they show it for he's in there screaming for a very long time.
And they show like his face, like,
oh man, yeah, no, but like this. That's a long death.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And then that's when we also get the scene of Yabashij. I don't know how to say his name. Just like watching and waiting to hear him die because he's like fascinated with death, which is also cool. Makes him like the coolest character ever.
Yeah,
because you're just like, dude, this guy's like just wild.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool characters. In this show.
And then they I try to remember, but then we also with that character, just one other note was besides this fascination with death was like the sex scene was with him too, where like the lady and she pulls in the guy and he just watches.
Okay. I had a specific note about this that I was like, I don't know if I should mention this on the pod or not. But that scene, I was like, was the Japanese the first people to do this kind of act? Because this was in what, 17th century?
1600s, yeah.
Okay, 1600, yeah. And yeah, they do this specific type of sex scene. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, this is.
Wonder if the Japanese invented this.
I don't know
specifically,
but just it's just funny. Like this, he's like, oh. Because it's like he's like, oh, I don't know if I like. Oh, I kind of
exactly.
Like just watching or whatever, which is what he was doing. Which it was interesting. But also good character development of like
for sure.
Guy just to give him like these different interesting details like that. So that's kind of Blackthorn's. Then the only other thing is like they take him to then the main.
We're just doing
Osaka.
episode 1.
Huh?
We're just doing episode 1 for his character.
No, I was going all the way through.
Okay.
Well, I was going through till he runs into Sarah.
Right. Okay.
To Saratoga. So then he meets
Toranaga.
Yeah. Sorry, Toranaga. He meets their Spaniard Rodriguez. That guy's interesting.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he's from the morning show, right? And then of course Lost. But
I was gonna mention Nestor Carbonell. He's also in shoot, there was something else he was in kind of recently. He's been in a lot of stuff though. But the morning show and Lost. He's a great actor and like
he's great in this.
His character is like
because he's like, no dude, like he's just like, you think he's gonna help him out because we didn't talk about, but like they first head out to go to the main city, Osaka, and then they get caught in a storm, and Blackthorn actually saves his life.
That was the scene I was going to mention. That was one of my favorite scenes in the first episode. Is when they're trying to survive that storm. Yeah.
Well, then when they have to go
and the following scene,
when they
exactly.
Rappel down the thing and do that because that's also the Yabashuji or whatever the guys that that ends up climbing down and falls.
Is that him? Okay, yeah.
I think it's the same guy.
Yeah.
And then he is about to commit suicide or what do they call it? Seppuku, yeah. And then they throw him the rope.
Yep. I know that's like that. Those kind of like culture things is so interesting. Like seeing that basically, like he basically, if he's gonna die that way, like he didn't want to, so then he was just going to basically end his own life instead of, I guess, from drowning or whatever else. So like, it's interesting those kind of customs because there's a scene earlier in this episode too that has to do with that kind of thing as well that I wanted to mention. That is just crazy. It's when they're having their council meeting at Osaka.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys in the back is he's like shaking, like about to like just blow up. And then as soon as he says something, he's basically like, I will kill myself and like basically my whole family, or it's like something like so drastic just from like speaking up once in this meeting. It's just crazy, like those kind of things. I mean, that's how it was though, but it's just yeah. I was gonna talk about that when we talk about Teranaga. Oh, okay.
Teranaga,
yeah, because that's right. He was
but that's fine. That's fine. No, but yes, you're right. That's a crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he goes all the way out to save him. So then you think, you're like, Rodriguez is gonna help our Blackthorn lead character, and then, and then they're like on the boat. He's like, no, dude, I'm turning you in. Like, to the Portuguese,
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, but like he ends up at the Osaka, and of course then they bring him to meet Teranaga because he wants to meet him. So that brings us to like Teranaga's kind of arc before we end up with these guys together. And so
Yoshi Toranaga,
yeah. So he Toranaga. So his opening thing, the falconry.
Oh yeah,
so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
This actor we know also.
Yes.
Yeah. Hiroyuki Sanada, obviously most recently was in John Wick 4.
Yep.
But Mortal Kombat, Westworld, The Wolverine, Lost. Actually, at the end of Lost, he was in, and Sunshine, which is a great movie. That I don't know. Have you ever seen that? I think it's Danny Boyle movie.
Never seen
it. That movie's great. It was like 2007, around that time. But yeah, so this guy's, I mean, he's a great actor in anything I've seen him in. But yeah.
So then he goes meet the other 4 regents.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then we have the
that's
scene
the council meeting.
Yeah, the council meeting, and then we have the scene where the guy steps out of line and then like completely regrets it a second later, and then says, "Yeah, I'll kill myself and my whole bloodline."
Yeah.
And then of course, do we get a scene like kind of the side scene of like, and it's our introduction to, what's her name?
Lady Mariko.
Yes, Mariko. And then
we know this.
She was also she was in very recently.
Yeah.
And
Monarch,
Legacy of Monsters.
And Pachinko.
But then she was in Pachinko as well. And like again, and I think now she's great in this, and she's great in Pachinko. So
it's like, I was gonna say
the writing's just not good in Monarch.
I know, because you're right. She's so much better in this and in Pachinko. Yeah. It's crazy, yeah.
But anyway, she talks the mother into not killing herself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the baby's got to die because
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So then, he finds out. Yeah. So Toranaga finds out about the prisoner. As like, and so then he heads back to meet him and has Mariko help translate, and because she knows Portuguese as well.
This was in episode 2.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not keeping them separate because I read the descriptions of both already.
I think this is one of the other best scenes.
Well, so yes, I like the later one. So there's 2 scenes.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
So there's the first one where he's brought there and they have a priest that's translating, and she's just sitting there.
No, yeah, not that one.
But yes, the later one, I agree, is a phenomenal scene where she's doing all the translating because he realizes he wants to talk to him more. And then he even has him teach. He's like, well, how do you explain the world? And then he
it's drawing so good.
It. And so good.
Yeah, we can get to that. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, we can talk about it now because it's not, again, it's nothing.
Well, I have, I'm trying to think, because I had where is it at? Well, the only other thing from episode 1 I had was interesting was, I think it was when they were on the boat, Rodriguez mentioning John's basically like a book and a list of like all the Catholic churches that he burned down. And then who's he end up giving it to? Because then
he gives it to the Portuguese.
That's right. Yeah,
like the priests, like the head of the Catholic Church in that area.
Yeah, and that person. This is my other note. Was that translator, Martin Alberto? I think that's how he said it. His introduction was so funny because he introduced himself. He said, "My name is Martin Alberto from the Society of Jesus," is what he said, and I just thought that was funny.
That was good.
And then it's in that same scene though, I also think it's interesting how they talk about the differences between the Catholics and the Protestants.
Yeah.
In that century was interesting. All this stuff with that is like really cool.
Well, it also is cool, like, because I mean you learn about it, but then like it was, to us it seemed like, because then they ended up losing a lot of it before what we know now as more of a modern thing, the way the world is.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's crazy to think that Portugal was so dominant and strong as a country, and then they ended up blowing it all basically.
Mm-hmm.
But because the little known fact for you listeners and viewers, Jered was born in Portugal, and I lived there for a while with as well. So
yeah. You remember it, I don't.
Yeah.
Because I was 1 when we came back, so.
But, yeah. So, we have a soft spot for Portugal, even though they're the bad guys in this.
Yeah. They are.
So, so then Toranaga basically learns that the Portuguese have been duping them, and the plan is for them to take over, like kind of take control of the country through religion and infiltrating it that way and stuff. So, and that's actually what Blackthorn was trying to, and they were trying to try to destroy some of the Catholic churches because, again, I guess they were churches, but like they were being used as like basically war bases and things to like infiltrate countries and take and kind of manage and control countries.
Well, that's the context of it. So it's like when he just mentions it at first, it's like that seems really bad. Like why did you burn all these? Exactly. But then you find the context. Yeah.
But then, so after that interaction, he has him stay in his personal quarters. Right.
Yep.
And then we get the assassin scene, which is so cool.
Yeah,
the fight scenes of that was so cool.
That was awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
But then then they were like, "Why did someone attack you? They want to kill," and he's like, "Well, no, I was sleeping in Blackthorn, so someone wanted to kill him."
Yeah.
Which makes him realize this guy's more valuable even, and probably makes him also realize that what he's saying is probably true.
Yes.
That, like, it's like they're, by them trying to kill him actually legitimizes the suspicions of you.
Well, also it's it's interesting hearing Toranaga like basically want to use him because it was not him. It was in a different scene where they talked about using Blackthorn to basically divide the council, right?
Yeah, because out of the other 4, 2 of them are Christian and 2 of them are not, and so the 2 Christian ones were like, well, we can't vote on getting rid of Toranaga yet.
Right.
We need to. So he strategically used him to kind of throw that off, so he would buy him some time, basically, to figure out his next move. Yeah, but they realize obviously they're trying to kill Blackthorn. And then the other thing to mention is, like you said, that scene also when she's translating for that, and she's kind of wrestling with. At first, she's like definitely being true and just doing it, and then he starts saying some stuff that's not so nice about the Catholics, and she's like one of the Catholics, the Japanese Catholics, and so she's like not wanting to believe what he's saying, and she starts. And the one time she even turns on him, she's like, "That's not right." He's like,
"Yep,
nope, that's what's happening."
Yeah, that's what's happening.
And she like has to translate it, but then to see her like be true to her people in her country over like so that was cool.
Yeah, I mean that scene is one of the other best scenes. I mean the assassination is great too, but like that scene where he draws the map,
character scene, like it's good, it's a great character.
Yeah, and like, or as he sees the world, or as he knows the world, because it's not much, but like even just him starting out with like explaining, it's around like a sphere, right? Like, and then like going into,
he says like a fruit.
Oh, like a fruit. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And then the end of it is like what is crazy, where he said it was a secret Portuguese base in Macau with Ronin, which was the first mention of Ronin as well, which was very cool to hear. So that scene was, that was one. But also, I like how they were going back and forth, and then eventually it kind of took their audio out, and then it was just like them talking one-on-one instead of speaking through the translators. They did that transition really well with that scene.
Yeah, it was cool. That was cool. But and then we kind of end on a little voiceover thing where get my. Well, that was on episode 1, right?
No, that was in episode 2. Yeah, what your quotes from? Yep.
Yeah, the quote. And
Rodriguez said it.
Yeah, every man has 3 hearts. Yeah, that was cool. The whole quote, I didn't write it down. It was good. It was
really good, yeah.
And then it was just cool to see how it developed. It's funny. That just reminds me of the funny, like how both sides were kept calling the other one like basically barbarians and and yet the Japanese definitely seemed way more civilized than the Englishmen, but they kept calling him barbarians, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
And of course, then they're like, you're not gonna bathe, and he's like, I bathed already this week, and so they must like bathe all the time. Where he was like, he like once a week is good enough. That was
my other note, which he was surprised about 2 baths in 1 week. Yeah. The only other character which I'm trying to remember what he is in relation to in this show is Ashido Kazunari is the name of the character in the show. And the actor is Takahiro Hira, and he's the dad from Monarch. So, because I was looking, I'm like, he looks familiar too, and I looked up. So another person from Monarch that's in this, that is doing way better in this show than in Monarch. So anyway, I don't know what he's
good writing. Imagine what that does.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's also like them speaking in Japanese too. Like that obviously makes
acting in your native tongue.
Right. Yeah,
really
that makes a difference.
obviously.
But again, like a lot of people can do that and do that well. Like, so I do think a lot of it does have to do with just Monarch and the way that show was done.
Yep, I agree. It's still entertaining, just not a
But it's like
high quality show.
Think about that in relation to what we're talking about now, where it's just like that was mediocre. It had some really cool moments, but a lot of just like when we talked about filler and just some stuff in that. So, which this is just executed on a way higher level in every way. Yeah. I think that's everything I have. Yeah. Oh, I did just want to mention the score is by Atticus Ross. Not with Trent Reznor though, but just
Atticus Ross. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And I really like the score.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I didn't look it up, and that's interesting. Okay. Very cool.
Which he was when we did Empire of Light. Mm-hmm. It was them, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, which was like the only time with not Thomas Newman, which is interesting. Correct. Still really good score, but I mean they're a great duo.
Yeah.
They've
done a lot of stuff together.
Yeah. A lot of really good stuff.
Cool. Well, I mean, it's an excellent show. Very excited to watch episode 3. Yeah.
I'm glad this one is 10 episodes because unlike, I don't want to keep hating on Monarch, but it's like that was the other show that had 10 episodes. Like, I don't think this one's going to be like a lot of filler. Like, I think everything's going to be
these
important.
2 episodes are any indication.
Right. Everything's going to be
density in these episodes. There's no fat.
Yeah.
There's no fat. Mm-hmm. So, so it'll be very, very, it'll be some great 10 episodes that will be like, oh, I wish it was 12 or 16.
Yeah, we're going to want more.
So,
for sure.
But, that's the way to do it. Leave them wanting more.
Yep. Instead of doing too much. Yeah.
But cool. Yeah. Well, if you started watching Shogun, let us know what you think. Leave us a comment or email us at feedback@screentimepod.com, and we could read your thoughts or comments on air. Well, on air, on the next pod.
Yeah.
It's not really on air. We're not live. Yeah, and
so are we doing two episodes next week? You want to say how many we're doing next week?
Yeah, we're going to do episode
3 and 4, right?
4.
Yeah.
So then we're kind of caught up with
yeah, and then afterwards we'll be doing just one, right? Because we'll be right on schedule.
Yeah. So because we'll because they come out on Monday nights at midnight East Coast time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, cool. But yeah, so actually we'll cover 3 and 4 next week, and then it'll be week to week after that. But yeah, so if you haven't started watching, watch it and get caught up and watch it with us. And then if you don't already, you can like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you watch, listen to that stuff. And
shout out to Overcast.
Overcast, yeah, that's where I watch my pod.
Yeah,
listen to my pods.
Yeah, it's the best.
But yeah, and then if you want to, you can follow me on Instagram at jyoungbar, and Jered.
I'm at Jered Youngbar.
All right, cool, and we'll see you guys next week.